Hello everybody and welcome back. So today we're going to see what a full face of Saie looks like. I know, right? Say it ain't so. That was such a bad joke. So before we get into it, I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. To start off, I'm going to be using the Slip Tint Tinted Moisturizer in the shade 3.5. So I've had this in my collection for a while. I haven't used it in the longest time ever, but I have found that it was a little bit too slippy for my skin type the few times I did wear it. But I mean, it's still in my collection, so I didn't hate it too much. So we'll see how I feel about it today. Just gonna give it a good shake since I haven't used it in a while. Yeah, I have not used this in a very long time. It was like squeezing out acrylic paint for the first time in months. There was like a little stiff paint worm. Ew. Also, I'm having twins. Right here on my forehead. Definitely jinxed myself in my last video, but trying not to be mad about it. So I'm just gonna use that with my Melt Cosmetics brush. It's a smidge dark, but that's okay. This is really pretty. It does add so much dew, as you can see, but it does correct my skin pretty well for a tinted moisturizer. I feel like it really evened out my redness. Of course, it's not going to cover up my twins up here or this volcano forming over here, but you know, it's doing a good job at evening out. And now I'm going over with my beauty blender just to sop up any excess. I think this looks really pretty. I just now remember that it doesn't remain looking like this on my skin. It gets a little greasy like with my oily complexion. But now I'm going to try out the concealer. It's the Hydrabeam concealer in the shade HB2. This is the first time I'm using this. It has a nice cone-like applicator. I like that. Oh, this looks a little peachy for me, but maybe it'll be good for color correcting this blueness up in here. Ooh, this feels like a serum-y gel right under my eyes. Ooh, I like the looks of this concealer so far. That looks really nice under my eyes. It's very dewy though, so I don't know what its longevity is gonna be like, but blending out very, very beautifully. I feel like it did color correct my blueness really well. Just gonna take a bit of that concealer on the back of my hand just to see its spot correcting capabilities. It might be a little orangey for red spots, but let me see. This is a lot dewier of a concealer than I would usually go in with to spot correct. Maybe I'll give you a good example on why I don't go in with dewier concealers to spot correct with. You can see like in some angles, it'll give like a beam of light right on the spot and it'll bring more attention to it. See, like right on my forehead. It's like a lighthouse up there. But it does have a good amount of coverage for this kind of minimalistic brand. Moving along to powder, this is the Saie Airset Radiant Loose Setting Powder. I remember liking the effect of this, but I find it to be very, very shimmery, especially when you step out into direct sunlight. There's definitely a lot of shimmer inside it, but it does do a good job at blurring. So I'm gonna use that to set under my eyes as well as my forehead. This is another product that sits in my drawer a lot of the time. I don't reach for it that often, but I am interested to revisit it today and see how it pairs with all of the other Saie products. Like, it is really pretty under the eyes. It's very blurring. I'll try to do a half set on my forehead so you can see its capabilities here. Here's the shine. So there's the set side and the unset side. It does do a lot. Now I'm gonna set the other side right here. Tired of leading all these boats my way. No, that's the opposite of what a lighthouse does. Pardon me, I do not live near the ocean. Oh god. So here is the base complete. I think it looks quite nice. I just find the products to be forgettable for me. They just don't wow me as much as others, I guess. But maybe I will change my mind because those are my past feelings. Let's see where things continue to go. So now let's introduce the bronzer. This is the Sun Melt Natural Cream Bronzer. I have the shade Light Bronze, and this is a really nice product. I really enjoy this one. It looks like this in the tub. It kind of reminds me of the NARS cream bronzer, but a little bit glowier, of course. But it does have this slight matteness to it as well. So I'm using my Moda blending fan brush to apply that today. And this is a really great bronzer because it's quite easy to maneuver around. I would say that it is user-friendly as well because it is on the sheer side, but it still adds quite a bit to your base, and it is super easy to blend out. You don't have to worry about harsh edges. It just kind of goes on effortlessly, and it does make you look like you're naturally bronzed, which I enjoy. At this point, before trying out any of the things I haven't tried out yet, I would consider this one of my more favorite products from Saie. Like when I think of the brand, this is the first product that comes to mind. And there it is. You see, it just gives like a natural flush, but it still adds a lot to your base. I feel like my skin is looking more alive now. The Saie bronzer has essences of some of my other favorite bronzers. I would say that it's like a good mixture between these two formulas here, the NARS Laguna Bronzing Matte Cream and the Fenty Beauty Cream Bronzer. It's like a perfect blend of these two. There's that dewiness and that sheerness that the Fenty one has, but that matte finish and the blendability of the NARS one. It's like the perfect mix. Now I'm going to be going in with their newest makeup product, which is a new liquid highlighter. I know they have a few other liquid and cream highlights, but this is actually a collaboration between Saie and Reformation, which is a sustainable clothing brand. I actually don't have any of their pieces, but their dresses always pop up on my Instagram feed and they do look very pretty. Don't have any of their pieces, but I have a makeup piece. I don't know where I'm going. I think I need more caffeine. Or maybe less. I never know. But this is a liquid highlighter called High Glow in the shade Ref Rose. So I've only swatched this, and this is actually the first product I received from them in PR. Everything else I've purchased myself. So this is what the highlighter looks like swatched on the back of my hand. You can see it does have like that rosy, nudie glow. And it's quite see-through, but it does have a really beautiful shift to it. It looks like it's gonna add a lot of glow, which do I need more? No, but we're gonna do it anyways. So I'm just gonna take some on the back of my hand and I'm going to use my finger to blend. I'm a little bit curious to see if it's gonna be dark for my skin tone. If you have a lighter skin tone than mine, it would pull a little bit dark on you, but I feel like it might work on darker skin tones because it does have such a sheer base. It's kind of one of those weird things that I just don't understand why they didn't come out with more colors, but they have only launched this one shade. But now that it's actually on, I don't have an undercast at all, so maybe it's just like one of those things that can work. It mostly feels like a dewy glow. Like it feels a little bit wet on my skin, kind of oily. Yeah, not hair proof, but maybe it needs to set down a little bit. I do think it looks really pretty though. I do. It's a very dewy, balmy glow, and it's not glittery or shimmery at all. You can see like a pearl is in there, but it's not big. It's very, very finely milled, which I do love. Let's try the hair flip test once again. Yeah, oh, not so bad. Not so bad. Not so bad. It's kind of catching onto my center of my cheeks more than my highlighter, so that's good news. It does feel like it's setting down. It still feels like I'm wearing a cream on my face. It doesn't feel super undetectable, but it doesn't feel oily anymore. I think that looks stunning. But now let's move on to blush, which is always my favorite step, and I have two shades. I recently picked up the newer shade Chili, which I'm excited for. I think it's going to be perfect for winter, for that I'm cold kind of look. And I have the shade Poppy, which actually Jamie got me in our last Shop With Me collab. There's Chili and there's Poppy. Ooh, I think that Chili shade is perfect. Kind of more unique for my collection. It's quite pink, but it still has that mauvey hue. I think that is lovely. Poppy is also very unique to my collection. It's so vibrant. It's like a neon coral. It's stunning. But I'm going to be using the shade Chili. I'm so excited to use this. On the website, it looked delightful. And I don't mind going in with too much because I do kind of want to recreate that I'm cold kind of look. I feel like this brush might work. This is the LYS, I believe, foundation brush, but I think it's going to work well for this blush. Oh, that is such a perfect I'm cold color. That is the color my cheeks turn when I'm out in the winter. That's so cute. I love that blush color. They for sure. Oh, it looks like it's stained. Or is that where Poppy was? I forgot Poppy kind of stains a little bit. Well, it is so neon, but This is the perfect I'm cold shade. They nailed this shade. Incredible. I love that. And the formula is also super easy to use. It does have that kind of thinner consistency, but it does blend out and you do have quite a bit of pigment. So far, all of their products work really well together, but at this point, I do feel that I am aware that I'm wearing makeup. It feels like it's going to slip and slide on my face. So I am going to grab more powder. I didn't set the center of my face anyways, so I'm going to opt for that right now. And I feel like I'm using a bit more powder than I usually do, but I feel like, I don't know, I'm just kneading it. But you can see that powder is nice. It doesn't cut all of the shine out of your face, and it feels very comfortable. It feels flexible, and it doesn't feel like it's sucking all of the moisture out of your skin. But now I'm just going to quickly do my brows and prime my lids, so please enjoy the brow intermission. So they don't currently offer any eyeshadow products or any eyeliners. They only carry a mascara for the eyes, but I'd be really curious to see what they could come up with. I feel like they would come up with something a bit different, so I look forward to that. So instead, I'm just going to take a little bit of the Airset to set my eyelids. I always like to prime my eyelids even though I'm not using any eyeshadow, just because my eyelids, they are eyelids. Just because my eyelids are quite oily and I don't like the look of that. And it also helps mascara from transferring up there, but I will give a little concealer update. I do find that this is pretty creasy. I feel like I may have chinsed out on powder a little bit, try to buff out those little lines, but I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of pat those out and add more powder down there. These under eye lines that I have always collect a little bit of concealer, but not that much that quickly. So we'll keep an eye on that. While I was taking a minute to do my brows, I also curled my lashes, but now let's try out their mascara. Their mascara is called Mascara 101. And I have the shade black, which is the only color they offer right now. It says that it's going to offer me thick, bold, lifted lashes. So sounds promising. I bought the mini size for this video because I have so many mascaras on the go right now, and I thought that this would be nice to throw into my makeup bag so it wouldn't take up so much room. So let's see how it goes. It has one of these kind of silicone-y plasticky wands. It's quite spiky. So I feel like this is going to give me a more lengthened appearance, but we'll see if it adds the volume. So here's one coat on this eye. I feel like it definitely delivered on the lengthening and lifted look. I think that looks nice. Why is it, if I'm just going in with mascara, I'm the messiest person? Maybe it's just because of the comfort, knowing that I'm not ruining an eyeshadow look and I can easily take it off. I think that is what it is. Okay, let's see how it builds up. Okay, that's pretty freaking long. Wow. I'm just gonna try to build some more volume near the base, just because I don't like when my lashes look this lengthened. I feel like they can look a little spidery. I feel like I'm just gonna get into clumpy territory, so I'm just gonna let it be. Definitely delivered on the lengthening. I think that looks pretty good. But I'm gonna see how it wears on my eyelashes, see if it smudges or flakes or anything. I don't really hear much about this mascara, which I'm kind of shocked just because of its initial look. I think it looks quite nice and promising, but yeah, we'll see. I'm just gonna try to clean myself up here. And I usually just take a spoolie and lightly graze it over those areas. See, that wasn't completely dry, so it smudged a little. But thankfully this base is a little bit on the slippy side, so it didn't sink right in and set. So there we are. Base and eyes all done. Now let's move on to lips. So for lips, you can use the Dew blushes, but they recently came out with their first ever actual lipstick. They're called lip blurs, and they've recently become some of my favorite lipsticks. I expanded my collection in them. I think the formula is stunning. I love how it comes in this slimmer stick, but it reminds me a lot of the Rare Beauty Kind Words matte lipsticks, but these are a bit more pigmented, I would say. They do have that whipped cloudy texture, and they do offer a lot of blur, and I find that they make your lips look more pouty, especially for them having like these darker hues. So I'll talk about the shades that I currently own. So this one over here is Modern. The middle one is Nouveau, and the last one here, it's the shade Dada. think I'm a hoot. So the shade Dada is the first one I initially purchased, and I recently got Nouveau and Modern. I think I'm gonna try out, let's try them all out. So I'll start off with Dada, just so you can see what it looks like. I think this looks spectacular with my red hair. I love this color. And these are fun. You can apply them for a very beautiful sheer tint, and they look like that movie lip tint, or they can be built up like this. And I think they're just so beautiful. They're very comfortable to wear. They're super, super lightweight for how much pigment they offer. A great, great formula. One of my top recommended from not only Saie, but in lipsticks in general. So now let's go in with Nouveau. This is the first time I'm putting this on. It's like a grungy brown. It reminds me of the 90s immediately. This would look killer with like cool toned eye looks. I like how there's still a little bit of warmth in there so it doesn't make your lips look dead. Definitely not for this look, but I feel like I could make it work with really pretty cool toned looks. I feel like this is one that you'd have to wear a little bit more full on because the sheer tint of this might make your lips look cold. You know? With a lip liner, I feel like that would look amazing. I would love to do like a 90s look. Maybe I should do that. And now moving on to the last shade. Almost put on Dada again. Modern. That's pretty. I like smudging it in with my fingers because I feel like it just brings out that blurred look a lot more and it makes it look more like a tint. I think that's lovely for today's look. I might go in with a little bit of a lip liner, kind of closer to the blush just to tie it in a little bit more because there is a little bit of a disconnect. Let's see what I can find. I think this one. This is a Makeup Forever lip liner in the shade Boundless Berry. There, I feel like that made a big difference. Subtle, but big. And here is the finished look in all her glory. What do we think? What do we think? I'll tell you what I think about each product individually now. I'm gonna go in order of application, and then at the end I'll give you my top recommended from the brand. So first, starting off with the Saie Slip Tint. I feel like it does a pretty good job. I liked how it evened out my skin tone really nicely, got rid of most of my minor redness, and it did a good job at kind of concealing my spots here. I feel like it's quite flattering. It truly is a slippy tint on my skin. I feel quite aware of it, and I know it's just going to become more apparent throughout the day. I've used this quite a few times, and I feel like I'm gonna have the same experience with it today. I feel like it performs well, but it's just not my favorite out there. It's often chilling in my collection, but I think it would be better if you had a different skin type than mine. Moving on to the concealer. This was my first day using this, so my first impression of it is, I guess, mid. I feel like it could go either way. I liked how hydrating it felt, and I liked the texture of it as well, and it did a good job at color correcting my under eyes. I feel like my under eyes look great. I think I didn't go in with enough powder to set it though, but the second time around that I set it, I feel like it did a lot better of a job. It has not budged at all. It did a good job at covering as well. I just wouldn't use this one to spot correct. Like in the beginning, like I showed you, it does bring a little more attention to those raised areas, but I will continue trying this out over the month, and I'll give you an updated opinion on the product in my monthly roundup. But right now I feel like it could go either way. Next up, let's talk about the Airset powder. I like this one. I really enjoy how blurring it is, and I like how it doesn't take away all of the shine in your makeup. It doesn't take away all of the dimension. I just feel as though this isn't the most compatible powder for my skin type. I find that the effect doesn't last long enough for me, and it often just stays in my collection untouched. But this is something I would like to incorporate into my routine a little bit more because I find that there is something promising about it. I think I just feel like it doesn't have the best chance going up against my skin type and these really dewy products. It's doing its best work right here. It's trying its best. So this powder is something I want to try again, but I feel like it doesn't compare to some of my other favorite powders I use on rotation all the time. Moving on to the bronzer. This is one of my most recommended products. I love this bronzer. The consistency. the size of that water bottle. It's so funny on camera. I really enjoy this one. I love the consistency. It feels quite familiar, but different at the same time. I like how it's slightly balmy, slightly matte, so it kind of offers you something from both sides of the spectrum. And it's really easy to manage as well. As you saw, it diffuses really nicely. It just gives a very softened but effective look. I like it, and the color's really pretty. Moving on to the highlighter, this is another first impression of mine today. I really like it. I think this is a promising highlighter. You guys know how picky I am with highlighters, but there's something special within this one. Every time I look at my skin, I look at the highlighter. I think it is really pretty, and it does feel like it had set down. So this is something that's sparking a little excitement in me. Again, I will let you know how things go with it in my monthly roundup. And moving on to the blushes, this is another product I would highly, highly recommend from the brand. Not only do I think these colors are beautiful, the formula is really nice. And I really love its chubby applicator. I think it's really fun to apply it to your cheeks. And the formula is really nice and easy to use. Again, it does have more of that gel-like serum texture, as you can see in this swatch here, but it does blend and diffuse really, really easily, and it doesn't look patchy or streaky or anything weird on your cheeks at all. A fantastic liquid blush. Now let's talk about the mascara. This is another new product to me, so my first impression thoughts on this are pretty good. It delivered what it had promised. I just feel like I wish there was more volume near the root just to balance out the length. I feel like my lashes can look a little bit spidery. Let me know what you guys think, but it delivered what it promised, so I think that gets a thumbs up from me. I guess the only thing that's left to see is if it smudges or flakes. I'm gonna give it a good test by wearing it on my lower and top lashes today. And now moving on to the lip blurs, which are another huge recommended product by me. I think these are stunning. I see myself picking up the rest of the shades. I believe they have a total of 6. I want the other half. These are just stunning lipsticks. They really killed it on this formula. It's super lightweight, very pigmented, and I love how adjustable they are. You can get that beautiful tinted look or really opaque, dramatic look. And I love their versatility. And they feel really nourishing and hydrating for a lipstick. So all in all, my top recommended would be these 3 products: the bronzer, the blushes, and the lipsticks. And one that I see becoming a favorite is the highlighter. I am growing on it more and more. But the rest did perform really well. I just don't feel the most excited about them, if that makes any sense. But all in all, this video was a great success. There weren't any flops at all. There's nothing that I wouldn't like truly recommend. I think it's all depending on your preferences and your skin type. So interesting. But there we have it. That's going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you enjoyed today's full face of Saie. If you did, please give this video a like. I will make sure to list and link everything in the description down below to make it easier for you all. So feel free to check that out. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.